I just had a random thought, and the idea is like, I get I get why divestors love white men. I get it. Because talking to a white man about racism or anything that white people, specifically and especially white men, have ever done is like confronting a black woman with any form of criticism or feedback. They are like the exact same people at this point in time. There are some black women who are sane, rational, mature adults, if not the majority of black women. Specifically, these divestor types, these women who likely started dating way too young. I'm not even gonna assume that about you. I won't even guess that shit about you. I won't even put it on you. I'll be like this: women who black men did not want. That if they were around black men at that time period, and you're more than likely you're talking about being, I would say, young as hell, because a lot of people form their perspectives about racism and before their perspectives of men and women at a very young age. I was not 20 deciding whether or not I liked girls. I was kissing girls when I was 5. That shit was fire. I remember one time I was like 7 years old at church camp, and this girl, she had burn scars, but she just has such a wonderful, beautiful personality and just such a fiery spirit. Not to put those two things together at all. And she kissed me, and then we held hands walking across the field. It was like a movie. It was like a movie, y'all. So I wasn't too old when I learned that I liked women, and specifically black women. I like everybody. I've dated. I've had sex. There's a big difference between, for me, there's a big difference between me claiming you and me dicking you down. Those are two worlds apart. I mean, my willingness to fuck you is not the same as my willingness to be committed to you or be emotionally responsible for you or any of that type of shit. But especially me expecting you to be emotionally responsible for me. We can have a whole sexual relationship. We can hang out. We can kick it. You need some bread, whatever. That's cool, but that's not a real. I don't feel like for men that's a real fulfilling relationship, and that's why a lot of men cheat. Quite honestly, because like to be 100% honest with you, that's not really what we're looking for in a woman. Uh, I gotta provide for you by proxy. I'm gonna look like shit if you look like shit. So as bad as you look is how bad I'm gonna look. But if we looking bad together, that's a whole different story. I'm not talking about struggle love. I'm talking about you got a vision and you got a plan of what you want in the future and the type of lifestyle that you want to have for yourself, and you're willing to invest in your future. You're willing to sacrifice. I don't cut my own hair. I'm just growing my hair out for real. But I give myself shaves and whatnot instead of going to the barber. Save myself some motherfucking money. Why the fuck am I paying this guy? I don't want to go bald. That's the alternative to doing the same thing, going bald. I'm just growing my shit out, and I like it. She likes it. That's the only woman I gotta make happy. I don't gotta make anybody else happy. Uh, I feel like with the divestors and with the white men, there is zero sense of accountability. There is zero sense of personal reflection. Because it's like this, you know, if you're watching me, you're probably in a relationship, you want to be in a relationship. And in relationships, you're going to have disagreements. Whether or not that disagreement has to turn into a fight or an argument depends on your emotional maturity as a man more than anything else. You might need to take some distance. You might need to take some time to yourself. She might need some time to formulate her thoughts or whatnot. But it would largely come down to your emotional maturity as a man. But more than anything, there's two things I'm trying to verbalize right now. The first thing I have on the tip of my tongue, and I can get it out a lot easier. A lot of people will be more upset with you bringing something to their attention than what they actually did wrong. They regret having to hear about their flaws. They regret having to hear about what they did wrong. They regret having to hear about how they hurt you or hurt your feelings or hurt someone that you like. But they will sit there in your face and justify what they did as if it makes them look like a better person to the bitter end of it. It's not masculine, it's toxic. If you're wrong, apologize. And that's going to save a lot of time and a lot of energy. And you're going to stop someone right in their steps, quite honestly. Because if you've already apologized, if you've already solved the problem, if you already addressed what's wrong, and they don't have to justify their feelings. What's issue is like a lot of people are used to dealing with narcissists. They're used to dealing with sociopaths. They're used to dealing with cowards more than anything. So these people lie to your fucking face. They tell you shit you want to hear because they would rather be liked than respected. They would rather tell you some shit that's going to make you feel good for a few minutes, for maybe a day or two. You might even have a good year off the shit that they said, but you can't live off of it. You can't eat it. You can't consume the value of their words and make them your own. You could live by it until you learn that they are full of shit. And then you wish you read the Bible. Then you wish you read the Quran. Then you wish you read the Talmud. You wish. But if wishes were fishes, the world would be an ocean. It's not. The other thing, I think that kind of was the main point I wanted to fucking make. Just not wanting to be wrong. Not wanting to be wrong, not wanting to change, and just a refusal to admit fault. White people cannot accept culpability for their actions. They need to, they desperately need to, but they refuse to. And the thing is that a lot of divestors are not educated remotely at all about themselves, their people, their struggle. Like a lot of people, quite honestly, have no idea how we got to this point in time. They weren't given an education about it. They were not taught about it. So for all they know, we just fell off of a spaceship. We ended up here, and then natural selection. This is really what they believe. This is really their ideas about the world. No, things happen. Laws were passed by the American government. People were murdered. Entire villages were destroyed. Entire towns were bombed and drowned and flooded for the sake of Western expansion, for the sake of racist white supremacy, for white people to turn around, who also don't necessarily get an education in this. And if you assume that a white person knows more than you, you're racist and you're ignorant, because they don't. The idea that white people are better than anybody else, it's kind of like a prison. You got a lot of white people living in Podunk, Appalachia. You got a lot of poor white folks living in trailer parks. You got a lot of white homeless people. You got a lot of white veterans, struggling. The idea of being white and being better than other people is the problem. It's a problem for black people and non-white people because it creates a black in the sense of having no connection to a culture or to a country other than America. So if you are not an American descendant of slavery, you ain't black. You are brown. We are all collectively brown people, but you have a culture and you have an identity outside of slavery. The issue black people face is that many of us do not have a culture, even if you do have knowledge of self, even if you do have an education, even if you do have finances, you still only have the American mindset, American tradition, and American pastimes, and that is racist white supremacy. That is a system of exploitation. That is capitalism. That is demonic rule. That is democracy. That is, we ain't gonna, the large government's not gonna help you. You got states' rights. The state has to help you. That's republicanism. So there is no solution in America that exists because everyone keeps looking to the other side to either blame and point fingers, or they're looking to the other side for salvation, but it doesn't exist outside of what you build and create for yourself. The issue with divestors and white men, and the reason why they gravitate towards each other, is because they're the complete same. They are people who are empty inside, who really may not have much to offer necessarily. Not white men who actually are good people and great. White men who prey upon non-white women because they know that non-white women have an inferiority complex to white people, especially to white men, and they know that these non-white women are going to serve white men. Those men, specifically. I didn't know when I was going to get a chance to talk about this. I saw one interracial relationship, a girl I called my sister. We were really tight, really cool. Maybe we progressed on that term a little too quickly. We really fucking know each other. And I was trying to clap them cheeks. But she had a boyfriend, and I respected that. We hung out, we did the thing. She met who eventually became my lady and my mother of my child. So that was really cool and really clandestine. And, they got engaged, they did their thing. And, I finally met the guy, and he was not who I expected. I expected it to be some 6'2", 270-pound black guy, or some fucking suave, Indian or like Latino guy. But it wasn't. He was a 5'4". She was taller than him, and she was not that tall. White kid, skinny as fuck, skinny as all get out, frail, blonde hair, brownish green eyes, I guess. But he loved her so much. A lot of these kids are growing up, and they're the children of like people who grew up in integration. Some people are already half black, half white. It's like for a lot of people, racism is dead for them, because it's dead. It's something that exists inside of you, I feel. The more that I look into the situation, it's like a demonic spirit almost. It's like a demonic hive mind that takes over the masses and takes over the people. And you have to rebuke it within yourself so you can rebuke it against others. But if it exists inside you, you won't even be able to see it in other people. You're going to be blind to it entirely. Just like black women wearing wigs, wearing fake hair, trying to look anything other than black, trying to be anything other than black. I don't think a lot of women can. It's like when women say they don't dress sexually for the male gaze, but all their friends are gay men and trans men, and they all are seeking financial support from men, even if they're strippers, even if they're sex workers. They're all seeking financial validation and financial approval from men. It's wild, right? It's kind of weird. It's like projection almost. It's like a mental illness almost, But a lot of people just don't want to they don't want to be honest about why they do the things that they do. Probably because they've never really thought about it before. You talk to a divestor about why she divests. Yeah, black men this, black men this, black men this, black men that. How many black men have you really been with? And if you've been with that many black men, do you really think... I would say if your number's more than 5, I'm not even saying sex, I'm just talking about like romantic relationships. If you've had more than 5 romantic relationships and you can't find the one, you are the one. You are the one. You are the one problem in your life that you need to solve before even entertaining a relationship. if you're of the mindset, that's like me saying, like, man, I gotta stop dating black women. I gotta get me an Asian girl. I gotta get me a big booty Asian girl who wears braids and talks in like kind of like a poor urban accent. You know, that's what I need. I need a Asian woman to wear blackface. I need a black woman in Asian face or something. I want everything that black women do and want, but I want her to be submissive to me. That's a me problem. That's not a cultural issue. I'm not gonna be able to pick up a girl in a different culture, a different country, and treat her like absolute dog shit, like a lot of you weird ass fucking passport bros do expect to do, and expect to have different results with women. You know, I can expect that if I'm bringing my best foot forward, you know, if I really do want to care for her, I really do want to fall in love. I just want a woman from a different culture and a different understanding of the world, and not to have basically all the things that I want in a black woman inside of a. I want something brand new, something different. That's racist because I'm still assuming shit about what these women are gonna be like and what I'm supposed to. You can't really. You have to have your boundaries in relationships. You have to have standards in relationships. You can't come to a relationship with expectations. Expectations kill everything. Because either you're like many of these. Oh, that's a great picture. That's a great picture. Many of these divestors. I lost my point. I saw this picture of me and my cousins, and it's just so, I don't know, so fucking profound. So fucking profound. It's not my first time seeing it, but it just looks so fucking cool. Many of these divestors, they walk in with such low expectations of self, such low expectations of black men, that they basically come into the relationship in bad faith. You know, this is something I've been thinking about a lot lately. And a woman said it last night that a lot of these divestors, they want their relationship with black men to be giving this man absolute hell, driving him fucking crazy and insane, and giving him the worst of absolute everything to see how much he's willing to take for her to prove that he loves her. That's the love that she wants to offer a black man, and that's not love. That's called abuse. So she wants to abuse the black man, but when she gets over to the white man, even if he's an alcoholic, even if he's a meth addict, even if he's a crackhead, even if he's a fucking philanderer, as long as he is white and has a little bit of money, she's willing to let this guy pee on her, piss on her, poop on her, murder her, anything because he's a white man. That's a mental illness. There's a mental illness. There's been nothing done in America to solve racism. You have people who have individually moved forward. The laws have not been overturned. The policies have not been overturned. These people have not been paid fair restitution for the psychological and generational abuse that they've gone through. There's been zero compensation for the black neighborhoods, the black property that was burned, bombed, drowned, and destroyed by white people. There has been zero restitution or reparations for police brutality. There's been zero restitution or reparations for firefighters letting black families die and burn in houses because they did not have value for black life. There's been zero restitution or reparations for medical malpractice against black women and against black men and against black children. There's been zero restitution or reparations for abortion clinics being set up and geared towards young black women. There's been nothing done to solve racism. What most of you are going through is the normalization and propaganda to support racism. You're looking at these rappers like Tupac was like a homosexual actor, and he played a tough guy. He might have been a little sassy, but he was by no means a thug. He was an actor. Snoop Dogg is an actor. Yes, I live in a neighborhood that people may or may not be affiliated within one of these men's clubs. But to act like these men's clubs that these young men are joining are all bad and all criminal, it's a little naive, it's a little bit racist, and it's a lot of it just kind of like double standards that you can have men join the Masonry, you can have people join the Illuminati, you can have people join the Church of Satan, you can have people join the Church of Scientology. And I'm not saying these organizations don't have their fair criticism, they don't have their fair skeptics, but not to the degree that a group of young black men hanging out with each other does. It does not bring cops wondering what you're doing, hanging out with your friends that you've grown up with on the same block your entire life, and you've always had to look out for each other, and now you're coming into manhood, you need to make money together, that white men do and go through all the time. White men are allowed to murder and kill and destroy without any sense of, even not even without a sense of remorse. Even when they kill people, they lie about it or try to justify it, or they try to negotiate to get a lighter sentence because they're white. It's like, it's really evil and really fucked up how a lot of white people do genuinely think. And you know this, you are very aware to this, but it's so normalized to you to want white adjacency, to want white validation, to want and desire to just feel what it's like to be white, because most of these divestors have never really lived around white people before. And some of them do indeed. There's two types. There's the young divestor, there's the old divestor. The young divestor isn't even necessarily a divestor, to be real with you. It's like just legit, they have grown up around white people their entire life. Their parents and a lot of their parents' friends are white. You know, even if it's two black parents, you know, and they're used to being around white people. They're used to going to schools where black men date white girls and white guys date black girls, and nobody gives a fuck. In fact, it might even be encouraged. You know, it's not swirling, it's not mixing. They are kids that have literally been growing up together, building relationships together, and been genuine friends their entire fucking life. And it's not really until they're in sexual maturation in which racism does affect it, because then you have to deal with the family dynamics. You're not just dealing with, oh, I have a girlfriend or boyfriend at school. You're now dealing with, we're fucking, we might have a kid, you need to meet my parents so we know what the fuck's going on here. You know, we need to get married, we need to formulate a long-term goal. And it's like, no, I'm just in it for the sex. And it's like, oh, it's like relationships are very complicated to begin with. Relationships are very, even if you have the very best relationship that you think is amazing, it's still completely and 100% hard as fuck. Even if you have someone that pays all your bills, it's still hard as fuck. Because now they have an attitude that because they pay all their bills, there's a certain way that they get to treat you. There's a certain amount of disrespect there's a certain amount of subservience that they expect from you now because they pay for shit. And if the shoe was on the other foot, it would be fucked up. You know? If they had to go through the same shit, they would be fucked up. A lot of people can't handle that. They really can't. The old divestor has never been around white people, has maybe worked around white people, has nothing but fantasies and imaginations about what white people are like, swears to God that white men are going to save her life, and that there's no way to have a life, the life that she wants, unless it's a white man. They're single. They're not dating. They treat black men like shit. They don't have any intentions of treating a black man well because they don't think black men are they don't want black men to exist or live. A lot of these black women, to be completely honest with you. But they also can't accept that just perhaps there's a level of camaraderie that black men and white men have gained, that we talk to each other, have relationships with one another, and especially discuss women with one another, to make a white man want to date a black woman to begin with, because maybe he's not a racist. Maybe he's genuinely coming in good faith, and she's a self-hating racist. And this white guy just wants some black validation. He wants his black mammy, you know. He understands that he needs black people. He's not going to live in a world without black people, so he might as well get along with them. Or for his kids to survive, they need some built-in SPF. You know, a lot of white girls date and marry black men because they want their kids to not burn in the sun, because they realize that global warming is coming, and in order for their bloodline to survive, they need some SPF in that skin. That's why a lot of white girls will date a Latino guy, they'll date an Asian guy, they might even get an Indian guy before they date a black guy. But some just say, fuck it, give me that BBC and give me that SPF. I'm going to enjoy myself. There's two types of women that date black men. Women that want orgasms and women that want orgasms for a long time. They might fuck around with black men on the side, is what I'm saying. Or they get married to a black man because they say, fuck it, we'll figure it out. I'll build you into the man that you need to become to make me happy. But for now, that thing makes me happy. And that's enough. For black women who are used to fucking black guys already, you know, they don't really care. It's not a novelty for them. If all you got is a hard cock to offer them, you know, once a woman's 30, 20, I mean, even mid-20s, honestly, they don't really give a fuck about it. Once a woman is on her own paying bills, your job is to make her life easier, just like her job is to make your life less stressful, because it's already hard. It doesn't get more difficult. You know, but when you walk into a relationship believing that your partner is going to act a certain way because he's white, or she needs to act a certain way because she's black and you're white, that's toxic as fuck. So why do divestors date and marry white men? One, because they've always lived around white people. They might used to being the only black person around a bunch of fucking white people. And the only other black people around her, she really doesn't have much in common with, other than being black. And that's kind of racist. And that's how you feel. I'm friends with people because they're black. Even if they do a bunch of shit that I don't approve of, don't believe in, and I don't like. That's a weak friendship. That's like getting together with someone on the basis of what you hate and expecting your hatred to keep y'all together. It won't. I swear to God, it won't. That's like trauma bonding. It just won't. What I want for a lot of y'all is some common sense and decency, but y'all make it seem like it's too much to ask. But, you know, there's a reason why divestors date white men. The other reason is because they've never really been around white people before. They've never dated a white person. They've never dated outside their race ever before. They're single. They want to see what it's like. They want to experiment. You know, and with women, it's a lot different. Women don't necessarily value or want sex from a... Women understand sex is a part of the relationship. It's a part of the exchange. But some women use it as a bargaining chip. Some women genuinely enjoy it, you know, and that's what they want from you. The women who have bills to pay are single and they want to do whatever the fuck they want to do with their life. That's not my problem. That's not your problem. That's no one's business. You know, if a young Asian woman wants to get some BBC, let her get that BBC. You know, if a young black woman wants to get that shrimp, let her get that shrimp egg foo young. You know, if a young white girl wants to get her some Rico Suave, let her get her Rico Suave, Charlotte Flair, and Andrade for real. Let them do their thing, you know. You gotta stay the fuck out of people's business. You do. But people need to keep their motherfucking name out your mouth too. And that's a bigger deal than the first one. Because if you would have kept my name out of your fucking mouth and you didn't say shit about black men, I wouldn't have to say shit about you. But if you're gonna tell a lie on me, I'm gonna tell the truth about you. And that's on everything, baby. That's on everything. So that's it. That's my views of divestors and white men. Like, subscribe, share it with a friend if you would like. I don't necessarily want to say that, but it's real as fuck, man. It does help out a lot. Like, share. And if you agree or disagree, let me know below. If you stopped watching 5 minutes through, you probably didn't see this. So, if you got this far, how's your day? Hope you're doing well. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's. Be well, be good. You know, for real, for real. And if you can, buy my books.